Hi everyone, this is Robin, and this is the last week this week for week 9. We are in the second half of the semester. So last week was about podcasts and audio editing, but the first thing that I had you do, let me go back. The first thing that I had you to do really didn't have anything to do with podcasts or audio editing. I asked you to really think a little bit more about blog posts and what makes quality blog posts. So there's two resources that I pointed you towards last week. One was a Spectrum of Blog Posts handout article, and then I also encouraged you to take a look at the best practices and tips for writing blogs that we created as part of our class. The other thing that I would encourage you to do is to look in your syllabus at Maslow's hierarchy and the RISE model for providing feedback. Both of those are useful tools in terms of writing your blog posts and thinking about the responses that you're giving to each other. In this second half of the semester, we're really looking to up your game on blog posts and responses because now you have 8 weeks, well, that's probably not right, about 6 weeks of blogging experience under your belts. And so now it's time to really take it up a notch. In terms of Bloom's taxonomy, you should be writing a little bit higher on Bloom's taxonomy, not just at that base level. So once you read all of those things, then it was time to focus on podcasts and audio editing. So the first thing that I asked you to do was to find or listen to a podcast. And I was really happy to hear that so many of you already listen to podcasts. Podcasts can be a great cornerstone foundation to your PLN. So I would encourage you as we go through the semester to not only continue looking for more blogs and more Twitter accounts to follow, but also to look for podcasts that you might be interested in listening to moving forward. So an optional thing that I had for you last week was to learn and experiment with audio editing using the tool Audacity. Now, as I mentioned last week, Audacity is a free tool for audio. And although this was an optional assignment, I really hope that you either last week or coming up, that you take some time and play around with audio editing for two reasons. The first reason is it's just super fun. Every time I edit something in Audacity, I am just amazed that we can actually do this. I think I mentioned last week, I think of Audacity sort of like a word processor for audio files, because you can add and delete and move things around just like you can in a word processor. The other reason, really the main reason, that I hope that you either took the time last week or take the time in the future to play around with audio editing is because this can be a really, really useful tool for the people for whom we are developing. So as a trainer, as a manager, as a leader, audio editing is, or audio, creating audio is a great tool for me to communicate information and share it with people in a way that's easy for them to consume. Because when you're listening to audio files, you not only can listen to audio files, but you can also be walking the dog or raking the leaves or doing the dishes. So it's a great way to get information out in a medium that allows people to either single task or to multitask. Uh, Everything else from last week were things that you've been doing all along that you just need to keep doing. So you need to continue to post a blog and read and respond to blogs every week. You need to engage with your PLN and social media, your blogs through Feedly and then Twitter. You need to, at this point, be really wrapping up working on your technology tool for the ebook. It is due week 10, which is, this is week 9, so it's due week 10. Excuse me, and you should, like I said, be putting the finishing touches on it and hopefully sharing it with someone else in class in order to get feedback. But I'll talk more about that when we get to this week. Grad students, you are hopefully working on your annotated bibliographies and are starting your work on the ebook. We had a meeting scheduled last week. Only one of you were able to make it, so I hope you get all the information you need from her. If there's anything else that you need from me feel free to let me know, but we are kind of getting down to the wire on that. And then, of course, a couple optional activities. One, as always, write more blog posts, comments on more blogs. And then we had an optional video conference last week where I said I would go over Audacity because I know sometimes it's just easier for you to learn it from someone rather than just reading it on handouts. My intention was to record that so that people who were not able to come could still watch the video, but nobody came. So I didn't demo it. So no recording of that because it didn't happen. All right, so all of that was last week. Let's talk about this week. So this week, we are going to be working on screencasting. So screencasting is what we call it. Well, what I'm doing right now is an example of screencasting. So screencasting is where you record whatever is on the computer screen. So in my case, screencasting is a PowerPoint presentation, but it's also screencasting if I capture, excuse me, if I capture me showing you how to get into DegreeWorks, or if I show you how to set tabs in Microsoft Word. So anything that you can see on your screen, you can capture and narrate so that you can create a tutorial or a training or an information piece to share with other people. Now, there are many tools to do screencasting. Some of them you have to pay for, some of them are for free. If you have a screencasting tool that you are already familiar with, you're welcome to use that. But if you don't have one that you're already familiar with, I'm going to suggest that you use Screencast-O-Matic. So what you're going to do this week for your first assignment is to learn how to use Screencast-O-Matic. It's really easy. It's based in the browser, and you just press the big red record button until you're done, and then you press the stop button. That's all the harder it is. But the hard part is planning what it is that you're going to be screencasting, right? So the pushing of the record and stop button, that's the easy part. But you want to have something useful to record because you are going to be including a screencast video in your blog this week. So the video needs to be at least 3 minutes long and no longer than 15 minutes because that's all the longer the free version of Screencast-O-Matic will allow you to record. So that's what you're going to be doing this week. You're going to be planning something, and I'm giving you a lot of freedom as to what that is. But you're going to do something that will, of course, fit in with the blog that you write this week because you're going to be including the screencast video in your blog. Now, here's an error on this. So this week, because you're learning how to screencast and you're going to be including the screencast video in your blog, this week you have until Thursday, not Wednesday, but Thursday to post your blog. And then, of course, respond to your classmates by Sunday. And then, of course, all the regular stuff. You're going to engage with your PLN, social media, Feedly, Twitter, and you're going to continue working on the technology tools paper, which is due next week, week 10. Grad students, of course, you will be working on your annotated bibliographies and doing whatever kind of prep you can on the ebook. So a couple of things I want to talk about before we end today. I want to just briefly talk about our intentional PLN model, and then I also, stay tuned, want to talk about a couple of changes to what we're doing for the rest of the semester. So first of all, our intentional PLN. So just as always, we have colleagues. We really haven't been doing much with popular media, but we do have print and digital resources. We've added podcasts now to the list. We have blogs. We have video conferences, even though no one came last week. And one thing that I want to mention, I should probably do a blog post on Zoom because the Zoom video conference that I've been using, which many of you know I think is just fantastic, it is very easy to record your video conferences. So once again, you just, if you're the host, if you're the one starting the video, you press the record button and that's all you have to do. And when you're done, when you exit the meeting, it automatically creates an MP3 audio file for you and it automatically creates an MP4 video file for you. So Zoom can also be a fairly useful screencasting tool. Zoom does have a free tier available. There's a limit to how long you can record. I think it's 45 minutes, but you're not going to want to screencast longer than 45 minutes anyway. So that's also kind of a useful way to record. And so, like I said, I'm going to try to remember to do a blog post on that. In addition to video conferencing, of course, social networking, social bookmarking, tools. We've done a lot of tools. Last week we added, last few weeks we've added image capturing, audio editing, and then this week, of course, will be screencasting. So you can see that even though we're only in week 9, we're really filling out our intentional PLNs with the professional development that will help us moving forward. All right, let's talk about what's happening for the rest of the semester. So here is the agenda. That's not right, but the agenda from the syllabus. And here we are, week 9. We're doing screencasting. Next week, of course, the tech tool paper is due. And if you're doing the bonus assignment, the bonus tech tool paper is due. We were scheduled to do screencasting and LinkedIn, and I have decided to eliminate that for week 10 and instead make it a working week. So this gives you a full week where you don't have any classwork to do except to work on your tech tool paper. Now, my reason for doing that is twofold. One, I want to make sure that you have time to do the best paper possible because, of course, this is going into an ebook that's going to be distributed on the internet. The other reason is because I'm hoping that now that you have week 10 next week as a working week, I'm hoping that you are going to share your tech tool paper with each other for feedback. Again, that's a great way to not only make sure you get the best grade possible, but to make sure that you have the best quality paper going into our ebook. So we have a forum called the Malt Shop in Moodle, and that's a great place to just post, hey, I'm looking for someone to share papers with and provide feedback. So I would encourage you to take advantage of that since next week you will just be having a working week. Now, we are still going to be talking about LinkedIn and some more screencasting. So week 11, we'll do a little more on screencasting. Week 13, we'll go ahead and talk about LinkedIn. A couple other things that I just, let me get back here, that I just want to mention. So week 11, we'll do some more screencasting and other video tools. Week 12, we'll do video and YouTube. Week 13, LinkedIn. And then week 14, of course, is fall break where we don't have classes. So grad students, just to, again, draw your attention to the timing of your semester-long assignments, the completed ebook needs to be given to me by the end of week 13. So you will be getting the tech tool papers at the beginning of week 11. The completed ebook needs to be submitted to me by the end of week 13. And then grad students, your annotated bibliographies are due week 15. And then week 16, you'll combine those into one document that we can then share with the class. So that is what we have on tap for the rest of the semester. A couple of small changes, nothing significant. And hopefully you'll appreciate the fact that you have next week, week 10, as a working week now. If you have questions on anything, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you online.